Hey, what's up, my friends? Welcome back. It is JB Webb on the JB Webb Show. This is our series finale, so we're closing things out. And in the midst of all that, of course, we take our time to get to know cool artists in Orlando, across the country. And this week we have a cool interview with someone who is growing as an artist here in Orlando. Let me give you a quick bio. It's Rebecca Williams. Rebecca Williams was born and raised here in Central Florida. She's dabbled in acrylics as a child, and though she has had many creative interests over the years, she has rediscovered her passion for art through the curiosity of expression, instantly fell in love, and has made it her focus ever since. So that's who we're going to be speaking with, and I want to welcome her to our humble show here right now. Welcome, Rebecca. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, JB. Thanks for having me.
Oh, no problem. I appreciate you making some time to chat. You've got a cool art portfolio. I like to hear more about your background, which we'll get into in a minute. But what, your style is unique. It's kind of a little bit of a, like a Nightmare Before Christmas type of look with your characters, and there's a little, maybe a little darker side to the stuff. First, maybe what kind of style from your website? It's visual art for unusual minds, which I like that tagline. So, is that kind of your style of art, or and then maybe you could share with us how you got into art?
Sure. Absolutely. I really love a play between the light and dark, and that's very expressive in my work. Kind of a combination sometimes of the sweet and unsettling.
Right.
And I definitely love to display those things in my work. I started selling and showing in 2010. Like you had said before, I dabbled a little bit in acrylics as a child, and I've always had creative interests. And in the past, growing up, I was always either making something, designing something, or, organizing something to make it prettier.
Right.
But I never had really tried my hand at art until after I got out of high school and I began college.
Okay.
At that point, it was not really a focus for me. I was actually going to school at the time in it. But I got
cool.
back into it probably about 2005 was the first time I did actual painting as an adult.
Okay.
And absolutely loved it. At that time in my life, I was very busy doing different things, and it was just more of a curiosity.
Okay.
And a few years later, I decided to get back into it and just completely fell in love with it and pursued it further. And now it's actually a business that I have part-time from home, and I absolutely love it.
Yeah, and you do have a very unique style. And during our conversation here, I'm throwing up images of your art and things like that. Which when you look at this, it kind of begs the question. It seems like you might be at some point, or maybe have already kind of dabbled with it. Do you have any plans to kind of make books? I could see your characters being in books and stories, things like that. So do you ever, or what are your kind of plans with that? Is that something you kind of said, hey, I'm maybe going to go in this direction at some point, or collaborate with other people?
That's a great question. I have had that in the back of my mind a time or two, but at this point, it's not really in the works.
Right.
I'm really loving doing visual art, and haven't really thought about that direction too much, but it has been in the back of my head. It's interesting that you'd ask that. Yeah.
No, well, I could see especially your kind of character from your website, maybe even having her own little book series or something. It's like got that kind of...
That's a great idea.
Yeah. Like, she could be... anyway, we can get into that later, but... So being involved in art kind of for the past 3 or 4 years, I know I got the chance to meet you at the Fashion Square Mall. You had a great setup there. Your Etsy store is awesome. So your art you present in a few different ways. So it's not just a typical picture. You've got little tchotchkes, little cool little keychains and different little things. Where does that background kind of come from as far as being able to put your art onto physical objects and things like this?
That's a really good question, because I've actually just learned on my own.
Oh, really?
I've never had any formal training for anything that I'm doing right now. It's totally self-taught. Mm-hmm. I've always had a natural inclination towards creative things, and at least a little bit of ability in a lot of things. So I guess I just kind of learn along the way and experiment, and hope that it comes out great in the end.
Well, that's awesome. Well, I think a lot of the things that you have, especially, and you might really have a market there with, the kind of teen age, the teen angst type of thing. You can see some of those parallels with their first getting into art and things of this nature. So definitely a compliment to you there.
Thank you.
Oh, you're quite welcome. What do you do in the community? You were mentioning to me, you kind of work with a group of artists and things like this. So what kind of community involvement do you do or have planned, for now or in the future?
There's a couple of things. I am a member of the Orlando Art Collective.
Okay.
We're a group of artists who meet once a month. We usually meet the second Thursdays of the month at Sam Flack's
cool.
on Colonial in Orlando. We meet from 6 to 8, and it's a great group of supportive artists where we talk about all kinds of different things. We do things like workshops. Sometimes we'll have demonstrations.
Okay.
We also show collectively. We have a group show coming up this June at City Art Factory.
Oh, cool.
And we're always looking for new members, so all artists are welcome.
Okay, so
yesterday was actually the first of a quarterly artist social that I've started organizing that we're going to have every 3 to 4 months. And it's basically an opportunity for artists to meet and connect. And trying to organize that on a somewhat regular basis just to give everybody an opportunity to network.
Oh, cool. So what is that? That's something new that you're starting, that you're heading up, kind of a thing?
Yes, sir. We just had our first meeting yesterday at the Falcon in Thornton Park.
Oh, cool.
And they're being kind enough to offer us a place to meet again. And the next meeting is going to be May 24th. That's a Saturday from 4 to 6 p.m.
Okay, cool. So you're not only getting involved in the art community as much as you can, you're kind of also leading some forums, some ways for people to meet and kind of meet and greet and meet each other. And what are you doing that's successful? Kind of share little tips and knowledge, and it sounds like.
Yes, we can always learn from each other, and there's all different kinds of artists in the area. There's people who do it as a hobby. There's people who do it part-time. There's people who do it full-time as an actual business that supports their household.
Right.
And so it's always neat to see just a mix of people gather and learn from each other, because there's some people who would like to do more with their work. They'd like to get more involved, and whatever I can do to help create an opportunity for that, I'm all for. There doesn't seem to be an organized social event for artists to get together. I see a lot of groups on Facebook about artist meetups, and oftentimes what I see is artists gathering at events that are already scheduled, but there didn't seem to be anything in our area that was scheduled specifically for groups of artists to meet and connect. And so I thought that maybe I would give that a try to see if we could provide an opportunity for ourselves to meet and network with one another.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, your artwork is definitely unique and expressive to your own style. I love the little pendants and the jewelry the bottle caps, the cool things that you made besides the prints, and the large pieces and things of that nature. So it was awesome to be able to connect with you finally after a few months after meeting you, and then be able to kind of chat with you and share your art with our audience base, as it were. What Art of Rebecca Williams is the website. It's the best place to go. I guess on a closing note, what would you suggest for anyone who's a new artist, maybe besides to kind of come to one of these events that you're holding, or come to one of these other events? Any advice for any kind of new artists out there besides what you've shared with us already?
Absolutely. I think networking is just such an important part for an artist to get to know the other artists in the area, in your local community events that are happening that you can get involved in. The more people you meet, the more opportunities that you find. I think it's just so important. Social networking sites are a fantastic place to also network with artists. For example, yesterday at our social, it was really interesting to see a lot of people who recognize each other from places like Facebook but had never met in person.
Yeah, that's cool.
And so you can also use social media to get started with networking as well. It's just basically getting out and getting involved as much as you can.
Yeah, you got to work and kind of be available as much as possible.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. Well, what's your creative process at home? I know I kind of said in closing, but I'll just throw one more question at you. How does your creative process kind of help you with your actual creation of art? Do you use it as a kind of therapeutic, type of way, or do you become inspired? Maybe a combination of those kind of things. But I'd be interested to hear a little bit more about your kind of creative process.
Sure. Usually, my creations are evolutions from my reactions to things that it might be as simple as a color, mood, or idea, some experience that I've had in my life, something that has inspired me. It's kind of hard to say. It can be sometimes a mixture of all of those things, but it's definitely emotionally driven. I think a lot of artists can say the same thing about that. There's always something internal that spikes that creation that you have an interest in at that moment.
Okay. All right, cool. So artofrebeccawilliams.com is the website. We'll try to throw the Etsy shop up there as well, but you can link to that through the Facebook page, through the website page. And I want to thank you, Rebecca, for your time today.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate your time.
Oh, my pleasure, my pleasure. I'm JB Webb. We've been speaking with Rebecca Williams from Art of Rebecca Williams. She's a Central Florida artist, and she's doing great things in the community. And go check out this young lady, see how you can get involved. And as always, we have plenty more for you, so hang tight. Rebecca, hang on the line with me. I'm JB Webb. You're participating in the JB Webb Show, where we promote talented people all across the country. Since we're headquartered here in Orlando, we typically try to work with a lot of Orlando artists. So go support your local art, and WJBWnetworks.com is our site. We'll see you later. Talk to you later. Bye.